Hey guys, this is Matt with Golden On Cycling, and I'm gonna do some commentary for the Cat 4 and 5 race for the recent races that were up in Pooler, the Rambling and Roebling race series that was up there. They actually had it on Saturday and Sunday, and I'll tell you, they do a fantastic job up there. This is the Cat 4-5 race. It's like 1:45 on Sunday, and there's a field of about 12 or 13, maybe 14 people, I think, or so. What I've got is a GoPro up front, a GoPro Hero Silver, I think, or something, and then a Garmin Verb Elite on the back. And this again is the Cat 4-5 race. And it's hot. It's not 108. That temperature is only reflective of the fact that the Garmin is sitting there in the sun before the race gets started. And but it's more like 95 or so. But 95 is not cold. And it's hot. Let me introduce a few of the actors. So that dude on the left there, in the black and white with no socks, so he does some of the Velo Brew races, and I don't think he's got a team, and he likes to get in a breakaway and go. And so he's definitely one to watch as far as, making sure that they don't go off the front, because he got in a break like last Saturday or the Saturday before, and him and some other dude, and they went, and there was no catching them. And so that's the thing is, like, if I don't have a team, I'm just out there like some Cat 6 racer just out there by himself. I don't have a team that can cover breaks. If there's somebody that's going, I've got to cover all those breaks. And so there is somebody actually up the road. You can sort of see him just around that tree there. That's the Moto Pace guy that sort of stays with the leader. And so there's somebody up the road. He's actually with the Ride Bikes guy. Or that's what team he's on. The guy directly in front of me, he's one of his teammates, and so I think anyway. That's my thinking at the time anyway. So you see if you just look at the top right hand corner, there's the course. This is actually like a car racetrack, and what I'll say is that because it's a loop, there's always somewhere that's in a headwind, and unfortunately, the headwind is directly into the sprint finish, or at least to the finish. So the moto guy is up there with that guy in the break, and nobody's really chasing him right now. I will say that going in a break on the first lap of a 50-minute Cat 4-5 race is kind of ballsy. It has a chance of succeeding if there's not a lot of team members and people aren't really going to work together. But if you've got a team and a couple of teams that are going to work to reel you in, it's going to be tough to stay away. The other thing is, independent if anybody's working or not, if you can stay in the pain cave for 50 minutes, kudos, dude. But I don't know that I could. Well, here's the thing: is that if you know your FTP, so if your FTP is whatever, 280. Well, if that's the maximum amount of power that you could maintain for, an hour, that means that, let's say that's 50 minutes, which is how long this race is. That means that if you lock it, if you're that guy and you look down at your power meter and you're putting out 280 watts, and the group is all catching, you need to sit up, because the 280 is what you're going to be able to maintain, with probably, and so. You got to use that data when you start thinking about, hey, I'm putting out a ton of watts, and I don't know if this is sustainable, or hey, I'm way under my threshold, and I think I can do this. So, with the guy he's getting kind of far out. He's already halfway around that bend. He's definitely got a turn on us. And so my thought here is, in fact, what you actually see is the Moto Pace. The actual guys are way in front of him. So I start reeling him in. I'm like, no way, that guy's not going to go. The guy behind me, he's looking out there to the left, see how far he is. And actually, right around in here, he starts to sit up. And I think because he sort of knows that we're strung out and we're about to catch him. If you look back, it's not that we're that strung out, but we're not going to let that guy go. There's no way he's going to succeed. So we all kind of or at least I bear down, tighten the screw, and say, no, that's not gonna. I'm not gonna let him go. I don't know if anybody's gonna work with me, but if nobody's gonna work with me, then I'm gonna bridge to him, and we're gonna work together. But so start going, and at this point, I can see he's kind of set up. He's not pushing. So. But the peloton behind us is kind of strung out if you just kind of look back. And again, there's the guy in the black and white. That guy, if he's in a breakaway, he can go. So if he attacks, I've got to go with him, because he'll stay away. And so that's just not having a team. That's just like something you have to do. If you don't have a team out here in these things, then every single break you've got to cover, which is total painful. I sort of pull to the right here just to look back over my left shoulder, see what's kind of going on, see if we're strung out, see who's up front, see who's kind of working, who's not working, who wants to be, up there. I don't know. See, here we go. The guy in the white and black, he's gone. He's going. But I know it's early. Again, we're like only one lap in. We're 2 miles in on what is that? We've gone 6 minutes. Again, staying away another 44 minutes is hard to do, especially 99-degree temperatures with multiple teams in the back, because these teams are going to work to reel you in. And so there's essentially I guess there's 3 guys up there, and I'm going to shut this. I decided to either shut this down or bridge. And so I go, you see the guy behind me. He starts coming. And so I just get up to him. There's 3 of them up there along with the moto guy. Let's get this back together. And because if there's as a solo guy, I'm not going to win a sprint. If this is a bunch sprint, I'm not going to win that. I mean, maybe if everybody's toast, but not realistically. So my hopes are a breakaway. So I kind of go past them and sort of see who wants to kind of go. And you see the guy with the yellow shoes. He looks like he wants to go. And the white and black jersey guy, he looks like he's coming. And then another one of those guys in that purple topo outfit thing. And you see the group starting to split. So this is the first indication. If you just look over your shoulder, you've got groups of 4 or 5, and then the peloton in the back. And so you definitely get the indication that there's at least some portion of the group that is willing to let a group go, which is awesome. And I mean, in my mind, that's awesome. Fine, let me go. We'll see if you want to take our chances, let's go. So I let them come through. And so now there's a group of 3, including the guy in the white and black, and then those 2 dudes both have a guy in that break, and so they're intentionally sort of sitting there riding together, and I'm like, nope, that's not going to happen, because I know I've got to shut that down. Those two guys are intentionally kind of riding on the front. I'm like, on your left, don't get in my way, I'm coming through, and so I bridge up to these guys, and he knows he's got to follow. And so I bridge up to them and, again, just sort of see what's going on up here. They're kind of not really together, 4 guys. But then again, that guy in the white and the black, he's looking for somebody to go. See him looking around, and then off to the right, somebody goes. He can hop on that wheel, and then so I jump on there. The guy behind me, so he's going to be in the rear view a lot today. And so here we are. I kind of just get over to the right, kind of look to the left, see who's back. See, we are way strung out at this point, and I've got a little bit of distance. And so, I'm just going to sort of tighten the screw and see what happens. He kind of drifts over to me, and then I'm going to kind of go and, put out about 600 watts, see if anybody wants to sort of go with this. String everybody out. I mean, my thought is I know that I can either push these guys and kind of soften them up, and if you look back, the group split completely. So soften these guys up, and I flick him through and see if he's willing to work. See who's willing to do what. I don't know. I think it's important to figure out who's willing to work, who's not going to work, who's going to ride, who's going to wheel suck, who wants to get in a break, who doesn't. Again, the guy in the white and the black, he's strong in a breakaway, and there's that Robson guy who looks like he's strong as hell. And so we're coming down the straightaway, and again, this stupid straightaway, man, it is. So it's 95 degrees. There's a stupid headwind. I don't know why the power meter's off, but there's way more power than 100 watts. We're coming through that thing. It is painful, man. It is absolutely painful to stay on that wheel. Even though we're going 22 miles an hour, it's 95 degrees. You know, and we've actually sort of separated ourselves from the group. There's like 3 of us now at this point. That guy behind me, he definitely wants to be a part of a break. You know, and so I gun it up here to see who's willing to come on. And I'm seeing if this guy behind me, he'll work with me. And so that Robson Forensic guy comes up. So now there's 3 of us. I'm looking back. Here comes, I flick him through, like, hey, let's go. Let's see who's willing to work. And then the guy in the pink socks. And so suddenly you look back, and there's the group, and then there's us 4, which is money, baby. And I know I'm like some just dumb Cat 5 rider, whatever. If you're smarter than me and you're some Cat 3 rider, then fine. Why are you watching some Cat 5 talk about racing? But if you like don't really know much about racing and you just sort of want to hear somebody's thoughts while they race, then good. Listen. So the one thing I'll say here is that, so there's 4 of us. There's 3 podium spots. The one thing I have a problem with when there's 4 people in a group, 4 people in a kind of a breakaway, is that it's going to get dicey. And maybe I'm going to make it dicey, but it's going to get dicey because the problem is that not everybody's going to, it's not 1, 2, 3, and people want to be 1, 2, 3. And so it's always going to get dicey when there's 4. But if there's 2 people or 2 or 3, everybody's going to work together because they know they're all going to end up on the podium. So there's 4 of us, and I'm like, man, we gotta. I don't know. This is gonna last. I don't know that all 4 of us. We may have to get rid of somebody. Not get rid of somebody, but let's push this and see if we can. Number 1, drop the group, drop the peloton, and number 2, see if everybody is willing to sort of go with this. And so that stupid hill right there, I'm going to say that stupid hill 20 times this time, this little commentary. But that thing is so painful. It's into a headwind. It's, I don't know, maybe a 3-4% grade, but it is so painful every single time we come around that thing. It is so damn painful. So here we are, we're going 26, high cadence, heart rate's 173. My max heart rate's like 182. But realistically, my max heart rate's like 175. I know that if I'm 172, I am definitely above the lactate threshold. The guy behind me, he's sucking wind. You see that? And then I think the Robson Forensic guy, he's dropped off. Yeah, if you look back there, the Robson Forensic guy's in the back. He's dropped off. And that dude is a strong dude. Don't get me wrong. So at this point, we are on the rivet, like totally full gas the rest of the time. And bear in mind, we are about 14 minutes into this 50-minute race. We're 5 miles in. This ends up being right at 20 miles. And again, it's like 2 o'clock. It ends up being right at a 50-minute race. So we go, man. Each of us, I think, does a pretty good job of, doing a decent amount of work. But here's the thing in my mind is that if you're on the front, my main goal is like, let's just do 30 seconds, don't go in the red, and then come to the back, get your heart rate down for a minute, because if we each do 30 seconds, because if you go red in these breakaways, you're gone. And the problem is that if any one person goes in the red and can't continue to do work, they're either dead weight or they're just wheel sucking, or the group's going to fail. And the thing is, you see the group, man, they're trying to get back. They know that now is the time for the group to come on. The group knows if they don't get on now, they ain't getting on. And so they're kind of strung out back there, and we are just like bearing down, trying to get this, trying to put I don't know, I call it like a morale gap. If the gap is just big enough to break their morale, they'll let us get away, and they'll just accept that they're going to sprint for 4th. But it's hard to do. It is way hard to do, especially when a long stretch like this. But if you can just get out of their sight, it's out of sight, out of mind. If you can just get out of their mind, out of their sight, they will, I feel like they'll just let us go. I mean, again, I'm just some stupid Cat 6 racer, but you just gotta, that's my ignorant opinion. So we come through here, what are we? It's 2:00. We got about, we're 6 miles in, and I'm telling myself, we got about 34 minutes of racing, which is a kind of a long time in 95-degree heat on the rivet. And here's the other thing is that the guy in front in the pink socks, what I've realized at this point is that he has better endurance than me and can probably stay in the pain cave longer than I can. And so, I feel like he's probably the strongest rider out of the three. Maybe I'm, underestimating myself or underestimating the guy behind me. The guy behind me, I have no idea about. And I don't know if he is like just wanting to wheel suck and not wanting to pull through and not, because if you notice his turns are a little bit less, but like that may be his strategy, and he's just gonna crush us. So I'm just like trying to do 20-30 seconds, let them come through, let me get my heart rate down, let's go. But the guy in the pink socks, man, when he comes through, it's like a minute pull. I mean, I'm talking about a minute down that he's down in that pain cave, and I'm worried because he's so strong. I'm worried that if he goes deep into the red and cashes out, we're all done. So I'm like, dude, don't go red, just 30 seconds. But man, dude's a strong rider. He's got legs. So we're coming up that stupid hill, whatever, 400 watts just to stay on somebody's wheel is so painful. If you just want to know the suffering that's going on, just that guy behind me, just look at that suffering right there, man. And we're looking back like, are they coming? Are they coming? Are they coming? Because at this point, are they coming around that corner? I can't really tell on this view. I think we're all kind of looking around like, have we distanced them or not? But so it's a little bit reassuring because they're not kind of coming on us right now. But we still got to go. It is hammer time. We're 7 miles in, so we're about a third of the way in. 33% done with this. This is the best part of this lap. It's kind of downhill. It's with the wind. It's 26, 27. You don't feel like you're just getting hammered the whole time. So, I know my FTP, I'd done a race yesterday in the Cat 5s, and it was only like 3 other dudes, and I broke away, and I just buried down on the rivet, and, I put out, like, my FTP yesterday was like, turned out to be 276. So I know that if I'm above that, I'm not going to be in a good position later. If I'm below that, I'm probably okay, at least for now. And especially with, how long do we have left? We have we're 20 minutes in, so we got about 30 minutes. So I know that if I can just keep it under, on average, about 280 watts, 285 watts, I'm probably okay. So every time I'm below 285 watts, I'm super happy. If I'm above that, I'm like, oh God, the analogy that I'll use is that it's like Mount Everest. How, if you're above 26,000 feet, you're in the death zone. If you're going to go up there and camp out on the death zone, just plan to die. In other words, if you're going to go to breakaway and think that you're going to camp out at 400 watts and you're going to have the day of your life, it's not going to happen. Like, nobody goes up to Everest and decides to stay up there for 4 days. You're gone. Bye. But if you can be smart and manageable, I feel like you have a much better chance of succeeding. In other words, if you're in a breakaway and you think you can, whatever your FTP is, if you can maintain that and stay away from the group, then good. So, when I'm on the front, I'm trying to pull like 280, 290, 300. And if that's enough to keep distancing them, the main group, then fine. if they're catching us and I'm putting out 300 watts, I'm sitting up. What's the point? It's inevitable. Yeah, I mean, if you got one lap to go, it may be a different story, but otherwise, it's inevitable that you're going to get caught if you're, putting out that kind of power and you can't maintain it. So I will say that this, and I may have said it, this straightaway is so painful. It's super into a headwind. You only go like 22 miles an hour. It is just so painful. Every single time it's just a slogging to get through. But, the nice thing is this little reward of getting a little bit downhill as you kind of go down to the left. There's a little uphill and then a nice little downhill again before the worst little hill in the world. Every single lap, I dreaded that hill. So we're going to go uphill after this line finishes here on the left, and have to get up to about 325 watts, something like that. And then it's downhill and then up around this hill. And every single time was so, so painful. I just, every single time I'm just trying to get on the wheel, sit in, get the heart rate down. I think it's so important that when you are in a group like this, after you pull, get on the wheel and just get that heart rate down. You see my heart rate's like barely budging, but just take a breather, get the heart rate down, calm down, because you got about, depending on how long they're pulling in front of you, you got about 30 seconds. If they're each doing 15 seconds, you might have a minute if somebody's doing 15 and the other one's doing 45. I get my heart rate down into the 160s, which is nice. He's actually not flicking through there. He's actually, the guy in front, the guy had flicked him through, but like it wasn't obvious. And so he was saying, dude, just use both shoulders just to tell us. You see the guy behind us just totally suffering. So, we're coming around again. And it's we're about almost 9 miles, which it turns out to be a 20-mile race, and so we're almost halfway, and the time, we've been racing about 22 minutes, so I know on my Garmin that we got 28 minutes of racing left. I don't know when that I imagine that the 3 laps to go comes with about 15 minutes, so we've got about 10 to 12 minutes before that starts. So that means we've got about 2 laps. So I know in my mind we've got about 5 laps left, and every single one of those laps is the most painful thing. I'm like, oh my God, this is so painful. Even though this guy's pulling an immense amount of time. The question is, number one, is one of these 3 going to break away? I personally feel like that if there's 3 in the breakaway and everybody's on the rivet, the chances of that happening are probably less. Number 2, I do feel like the guy behind us probably is not going to break away, but there's been no indication one way or another. What I've said to the guy in front of me, I'm like, in fact, we had a preem lap, and I was like, dude, I'm not sprinting for it. Just, you can have it. Because here's what happens on those preem laps, is that you sprint for it, and you go to the top of Everest, you go deep into the danger zone, and then you can't come back from it. You can't even get back on the wheel. Not only then, if you do make it back on the wheel, you can't do anything, and then the group ends up dropping you because you end up just being damn dead weight. So we had one preem, and I was like, dude, I'm not even sprinting for it. You can have it. And I don't remember when that was. I think it was like maybe the lap before this. So we're about halfway through, and if you look over to the left, can you see? Yes. If you look on the left, right before that little shed, you see 3 guys coming at us. That's a good minute or so. And so what I know is that, you see here, I'm putting out 400 watts into the headwind, and doesn't think it's fast enough and comes around and wants to pull faster, which, like, whatever, dude, that's totally fine. But seeing those guys come at us every lap is good motivation to hammer it, because those guys are coming. And I think every lap, it was an indication that we were a little bit more ahead of them. So I think we were doing a little bit more, but that's definitely not guaranteed, especially if one of the three of us gives up and can't do, So we're going, what is it, 210 now? We got about, we got 10 miles to go. And so about 30 minutes to go. It's definitely hammer time here. The guy behind me looks like he's suffering. I'll say that I'm completely suffering at this point. And this is the point I do remember being about 30 minutes in and going, I don't know that I can do this. I don't know that I have another 20 minutes in me right now. Do I have 10? Yeah. But do I have 20? I don't know. And this was probably the most self-doubt that I have had, at least this far in the race. And, I only say that to tell somebody, if you're in a breakaway and you're doubting whether or not you can keep doing it, well, just realize that if you're suffering, everybody's suffering. And just watch the guy's face behind me. I mean, that is, I'm sure mine looks 10 times worse, but that's not a face of comfort. That is a face of, good God. And you'll see, I mean, everybody's face at some point in this is pure pain. And this guy, he's pulling to the top of the hill, and then I can't remember I don't know how long he pulls here, but that hill is so painful. I'm talking about so painful. Yeah, I mean, that hill is brutal. I don't know how long he pulled, 15 or 30 seconds, but that hill is just awful. So this is the little rest. It's not a rest area, but it's just the one rest area that you can sort of get downhill, get some speed, tuck in for a second, get the heart rate down. This was the only kind of area. The two areas that headed this way, in other words, this one and then the one after the straightaway, are the two areas that you just sort of can calm down. Dang, it is so hot right now. It's 95. I remember just trying to drink water, and it's like, imagine 95-degree hot Gatorade. It was not appetizing. You see the guy behind me. The guy's suffering so bad right now. But we're all suffering. I mean, everybody's face. Well, I don't know. Maybe the guy in front is cool as a cucumber, but I can tell you, my face is infinitely more. It's more of a sufferfest than his face. So, what do we got? We're at 11 miles. At this point, in my mind, we pretty much have this locked. In other words, the breakaway is going to stick. Now, how is this all going to pan out? Or, who's going to get what position? Number one, I'm not sprinting for anything. If that means getting third, then that means getting third. If we divvy the podium out based on workload, I feel like the dude in front of me, the dude right behind me, the guy in the pink socks, should get first place. I'll take second, and the guy behind third. Feel like that's equal. But I've sort of communicated that to the guy in the pink, hey, dude, I'm not going to sprint for the finish. I just want to finish this. But I don't, see, look, yeah, we're all looking to the left, looking for him, see how far we are. I've communicated that. I really haven't talked to the guy behind me about what the plan is on that. But, based on the fact, I don't know. I just was hoping it would be the order that is now, 1, 2, 3. So straightaway, headwind, pain, cave, all the way. I'll say that the these Hilton Head cycling guys, man, they put on a fantastic race. This race, they have a Moto Pace guy. I guess he's not really with us for some reason. In the other races that I've done, he's been with the leading group the whole time, which is just awesome. I don't know what he would do, but it is awesome. I mean, I guess it would be nice if he had maybe like a front or rear wheel or something, maybe. But he's there at least. I mean, I guess he's an official and just checking things out. So we're coming to that slight little hill. This little hill, you always have to put out about 300 watts. Well, this Cat 5-6 racer does. Get over this hill, and then a nice little downhill, and then back up the worst hill in the whole course. That thing is so damn painful every single time. That guy behind it, he's suffering so bad, and I love it. It's so awesome. It's like that. There's that movie, that Faces of Death. Like when we were like 7, and it was like everything was like fake. There should be like a Faces of Suffering. It's just a matter of time before I'm on there, because cycling provides significant Faces of Suffering, which you're probably going to see going up this hill, turning out 400 watts. Just no, it's not that bad. So we're 13 miles in, so we're essentially 2/3 of the race done here. Again, we're probably free. In other words, if we just work together and just keep the pace at roughly 22 or so, we'll probably stay away. But there's definitely no guarantee on that. My main goal at this point is not to flat, not to drop a chain, not to get in a wreck. And to work together. So if we can accomplish all of those goals, that's the key. We all come in. But if one of us starts getting dicey and starts just splitting us apart, then we're gone. Or if somebody's looking to start sprinting and all that stuff, we're done. So it's super important actually just to work at this point and work together, because the only way we have a chance of staying away. And maybe the Peloton's so split up and broken apart that maybe it doesn't matter and people have given up, but we don't know that. I mean, the key point, and especially if a Peloton's bear down on you, is just work together. Just everybody just do a little bit, let the other guys get their heart rate down, and then don't surge when you come through. I think there's at one point when definitely coming through, and what I don't want to do is surge when I come through and then have those two guys go red trying to stay on, then they can't stay on, or they can't do their sort of, when they pull, they can't really do much. So I think it's so important just to when you come through, pull through at easy pace, let the guy get on, everybody settle in for a second, get your heart rate down, and then it's your turn again. So I know that's maybe that's obvious to everybody that's watching this, but the bottom line is that the only people that are probably watching this are people that haven't really raced before. Because if you already raced, then you probably you either know it or you disagree. And then if you disagree, just turn the volume off and you don't have to listen to it. But at least this is just some, one guy's opinion. If you feel differently, then you feel differently. It's fine. So where are we? We're like 14 miles. Got a ways to go. And again, coming into that straightaway, that headwind, this guy in front of me, man, I'm telling you, man, he could turn out some watts for long periods of time. He could go deep into that pain cave. Is the group coming on the far left? Yeah, there's the group. There's only 2 of them now, and in fact, there's 2 of them. One is a Robson Forensic guy, and the other one is one of his teammates. And right here, what I'm saying to him is, why is your teammate pulling that guy? He needs to be sitting on his wheel, totally wheel sucking that guy. Because does he know he's got somebody in the brake? But I after having thought about what was probably going on, my suspicion is that they were just working together to get fourth and fifth, and if they had started making any amount of move on us, that guy would have just sat in. So right there's the 3 laps to go. I cannot tell you how happy I was to see 3 laps to go. Now, 3 laps to go is awesome because it means there's not 4 or 5. But 3 laps on this thing is 15 more minutes of pure pain. And I will say that I don't know, man, 2 and 3 laps to go on this course is a long way. It's a good 5 minutes every time. It's between 4.5 and 5.5 minutes, depending on wind and whether by yourself and everything else. So, and here's the other thing is that we start actually lapping people at this point. You see the guy kind of in front of us. We start to lap him, and is this the one? Yeah. So the one thing we passed him, and he goes, "Yeah, there was a fist fight." I'm like, "What? A fist fight?" So apparently there was a fist fight or something that went on in the back of the group, and I'm not sure about all that. But anyway, so we come through. We'll lap another couple guys here before it's all said and done. But we keep tightening that screw and just hammering it down. Every single time the question is how hard to go up that stupid hill that's coming right up here to the left. I mean, that thing drove me bananas every single time. It was like just amount of pure dread every single time. You see it, it's just like, oh my God, here we go. So he's flicking me through. 500 watts, so painful, hurts every second. I mean, it's just a level of pain. So, what do we have left? We got 2.5 laps at this point. So 2.5 laps. Again, my thought is just to not wreck. I just don't want to clip somebody's wheel or have somebody clip my wheel and go down. I really just want a safe finish. And the other thing I'll say is that I do worry that if those 2 guys sprint off, my ability to stay away from the guys behind me, just because I'm sort of so gassed and morally. From a morale standpoint, I worry about my ability to hang tough if I start to get dropped. So I'm really just hoping that we all continue to work together. That's my only hope at this point. And so, after this, we got this turn, the next turn, the long straightaway, and then we're at two more laps. And it's honestly, it's so hot. It is absolutely scorching out there. The guy behind me drinking water. I'm drinking water at this point, and again, but it's like 95 degree hot Gatorade. It is not the best scenario. And in fact, at this point, I have my jersey all the way unzipped. I'm totally flapping. It's completely flapping in the wind. But I'm wearing a black Strava jersey and bib, and it is so unbelievably hot. I completely understand why somebody would have a completely white jersey at this point, a bib or whatever, kit. I mean, that black and that 95 degree temperature is just so scorching. It's so hot. So we're coming to that straightaway, and it's like 97 degrees. I just want to stay on everybody's wheel, and I think that if one of the 3 of us had said, "Hey, ease up, I'm totally red, like I can't even hang on," I think that we probably would have dialed it back. We would have just because. Can you see the guys on the far left? Look on the far left over there. Are they coming? Yeah, there they are. There's 2 guys over there, and the one pulling is that dude's teammate. So maybe he was just setting the pace just to not, just for those 2 to get 4 and 5. See the guy behind it. He's like totally, the guy behind me, he's freaking suffering. Like me, I'm completely gassed at this point. Headwind, it's awful. It is absolutely awful at this point. So we're about to get the 2 laps to go, Mark, and it's nice. Seeing 2 laps to go, it is infinitely better than seeing 3 laps to go. 3 laps to go, there's still 15 minutes racing here. There's only 10 minutes. If we can just get 1 lap to go, I'll feel so happy that we can cruise in. So my power meter drops out for a second there for some reason, but we come through, and we got about 10 more minutes to go. In other words, about 4 miles. You see the guy behind me there? He's on the rivet. He's definitely on the rivet. We all are. I mean, no, like, I want you to know I want to vomit at this point. I'm completely gassed. If you see him behind me, he's definitely suffering. I mean, or maybe he just, I don't know. Maybe he feels great and he's ready to go again. I don't know. But I'm completely on the rivet. I've got nothing. I have something because we have another lap and a half to go, but I'm like totally gassed. I'm not even pedaling hard enough that he has to pedal much behind me. He's kind of soft pedaling through that. But then I know that coming through this, we're going 27. I mean, shit, how many more watts do I need to drop here? We're going 26 miles an hour. And then I know that the worst hill in the world, I mean, this is my little Mount Ventoux right here. I mean, it's not Mount Ventoux, but it's the most painful hill in my mind right now. I got to get out of the saddle. I'm like, oh my God, 400 watts, so painful. You see the guy behind me, he's definitely, he's in the pain cave there. He's in the pain cave. That guy, he's in the pain cave too. But that's okay. I mean, we're all, honestly, I don't know. I mean, maybe not, but we're just trying to get through this shit. So we come up on Ken Anderson. Ken Anderson, he'd already done 2 races, including the Masters earlier today, and super nice guy. We ride a ton in St. Simons together, and super strong. But he'd already done 2 races, the heat, whatever, and there were so many attacks early on, and so he just sat up and used it as a little cruiser, which is good. So, what do we got? We got about 3 miles, mile and a half. 3 miles left, lap and a half. The one thing I'll say at this point is that I've pretty much told the guy in front of me that, like, dude, if we could all just get in safely, you can go first, or you can sprint for first. But I don't know what the guy behind me is doing. But I think. The guy behind me, I think if you look right here, is this where he does it? Does he start to sprint here? Let's see. I love it. Watch this. He comes up and he says, "Sayonara, suckers." Something. He says something like, "Thanks, later." like he's just gonna full gas and just leave us. It was awesome. That was like best moment of the entire thing. He's giggling to himself back there. It was awesome. Totally. I mean, we needed that, right? So we got a little over a lap left. We're coming to this awful stretch, and it was, and as long as we don't freaking trip over ourselves here, I think we're gonna finish. And the fact that he did that, just like he's been sitting on our wheel the whole time and just acting like he can't do anything, and then he just gasses it, goes full gas, and wins. Like that, number one, it would have been awesome. But it also would have been kind of dick. But it was funny, just because it was totally kidding. So we're coming up on the last lap, and man, this feels good. He's flicking me through there. I come through. It's so painful. It's just so painful, this stretch. Look behind. He's pulled a long way. He's on my wheel. It's super painful. Super painful. So as we come through here, we're going to get the last lap, the one, and it's I can't tell you how good that felt. I'd done the Cat 5 earlier in that day, which was me and another dude, and then the day before, so yesterday on Saturday, I'd done there's the one. The day before, I'd done the Cat 5 with like 3 other guys, so a field of 4, which is not that big, and then I just within 2 laps, I decided to go and see what I could do. But so this was after this was the 3rd race over the weekend, and my legs were not in the best of shape, but so it felt good. It felt good to to do multiple races, and the point is that every single one of these guys out here, like, they're on their 2nd, 3rd, 4th race of the weekend, so nobody's legs are fresh. And that's what's crazy about all this, is that every single one of these guys out here is already, a little bit gassed, a little bit, they'd worked hard at some other race or something. So, that's important to keep in mind, is that everybody's a little gassed, So we come up over the hill, 300 watts, and I know we have 1 lap left, so I'm giving it all. You see the guy behind me; he's gassed too. He's a strong rider, though, super strong. And then we come around to come down to the slope, and then come around to my favorite hill, the Mount Ventoux of Pooler County, or wherever the hell we are. God, I hate this hill. I mean, it's not even a hill. It's just like a stupid incline. But damn, it's so painful. It's just 400 or 500 watts. It's just like, it's almost like, hey, you're going to have to sprint right there. You're going to have to go put out 400 watts to keep the pace. So just be ready. And every single time you start to dread it, it's just like, oh, God. So we're also coming up on somebody else up here that we're about to lap. And the one thing, like, lapping people freaks me out. Not because I care about lapping people, but it's an opportunity for, they're not thinking right, we're not thinking right. We pass them on the left, they think we're passing on the right, they run into us. So I'm like, gosh, just don't wreck. And you see, as we come around this guy, we're not saying much, but as we come around, like, I start to say something like, on your left, or I don't know, I can't remember what I said, but we got half a lap to go. The last thing I want is for this guy to swerve in front of one of us, and then we go down. And so I kind of come out like I want to separate myself from what may happen. I go to the right. He's clearly on the left. I say, on your right, and then he goes to the right. It's not his fault at all. And then, we go to the left, and so that stuff scares me. Looks like he tries to get on our wheel there for a second. But anyway, yeah, he does try to get on our wheel, doesn't he? How long did he stay there? I didn't realize that. Anyway, so we got the last big turn and then the headwind. And again, I don't know what the guy in front of me, if he's going to let me have second or if he's going to sprint for second. I can tell you that if he'd sprinted for second, he would have had second. I had nothing in my legs for a sprint. But I do feel like, I think we finished in the order of our, I think the order that we finished in was fair, I guess is what I'll say. But it's a race, so if somebody wants to go sprint and take it all, then I can't bitch a bit, other than the fact that I need to sprint. But at this point, I definitely tell him, I'm like, dude, I'm not sprinting for this. In fact, I think I say something right there, like, dude, you can take this thing. And so I may even kind of peel off here, like, Look at him suffering there. He is definitely suffering. And so, but he's got way more gas than I do in him. I'll tell you that. I try to get on his wheel here, and I don't think I've got it in me. I go up to 700 watts, and I'm trying to stay with it. I cannot tell you. You know, I'm nearly vomiting. I can taste it in my mouth. But I got nothing. You know, and I was like, that guy's going to take second. But he was totally cool, and we just finished 1, 2, 3, and it was awesome. It was a totally great race. The guys from Hillnote Cycling did a fantastic job. The USA Cycling, these referees, fantastic job. It was an absolutely great race. And again, this is 4-5. I mean, you know, I'm no P12 or whatever, but you know, this was super fun. And follow us at Golden Isle Cycling. Come ride with us if you're ever in the area. See you guys.